At the start of every GAA season, players set out a few key goals and targets, usually along the lines of winning the championship, being the best player in the team, or scoring X amount per game, which are all great goals and levels to strive for, but there's one main issue with them: they're all outcome focused. Of course, we're always working towards a certain outcome, but players often forget the smaller action steps and processes that compound over time to make those outcomes reality. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking you through everything you need in 2025 to make this season your best to date and be absolutely flying come the championship time. By the end of this video, you should have a clear plan and series of action steps of what you need to do on a daily and weekly basis, that if you're consistent with that week in, week out, it's going to leave you in an unbelievable spot to perform to your fullest potential come the championship time. So let's get stuck in. Step number one is going to be the vision. So the first thing we need to get clear on is where it is we're actually heading and what we want to achieve from the season. Naturally, players will start thinking towards the likes of winning the championship with the team. That's going to be the ultimate goal, the end goal for everyone, and that's 100%. But whether we like it or not, we can only control such a small portion of that. When it comes to performance and when it comes to team games, as much as it's about the team, the only way we can directly impact the team is looking after our own performance and our own preparation. So when we look at after our own performance and put ourselves in the best possible chance of performing ourselves, we can then impact the team in a better way, but we can also drive the standards in our team. When players see you operating at a certain level, if you're toasting them in training or they're just seeing you playing well in games and they're seeing the work that you're doing in the background, they're like, right, fuck, I need to get on this man's level. So that's how we can directly impact the team. It's an indirect way, but it's a direct way in a roundabout way. When we actually get clear in the vision then, and when we break it down in terms of our own personal vision, it's something along the lines of performing at your best consistently each week, being injury-free and being on the pitch, and playing a key role in the team, contributing to the team's success. From there, we need to break that down further to get really clear on the daily action steps and habits that we need to implement to make that a reality. And over the last couple of years of coaching GAA players, there's been three key areas that if you can get these right and working together, it's going to set you up in an unbelievable place. I call these the high performance habits, and they're made up of training, nutrition, and your lifestyle. Now, obviously, there's lots that can go into those, and there's lots of subcategories in those. But if you get all three of these areas working together and aligned with the overall vision, it's going to make life so much easier for you, and I guarantee you'll be flying come the championship time this year. Step two, and the first of the high performance habits, is going to be your training. And naturally, that's where players are going to start thinking about when they want to perform to a higher standard, which is great. You're thinking along the lines of your team training and games, but then also your S&C that you're doing outside of that. And with your S&C, a good holistic plan is going to be made up of your speed work, which includes your max speed, your acceleration, your change of direction, your conditioning, your power, your strength, your hypertrophy sort of robustness type work in the gym. But more importantly, it's going to structure that for you around your training week. So you're getting the right type of work in at the right amounts, at the right times, and you're allowing yourself to recover well in between so that you're at your freshest and at your best coming into team training games, because that's the purpose at the end of the day. That's why we train, that's why we do all the work, is to be at our best come game day. So we want to set our week up in a way that we can get the most out of our training, but more importantly, be ready to perform come game day. So yeah, I wonder where you get a program like that. There's a few key principles here when you're thinking about setting up your week, and this is going to vary from person to person. I would love to be able to just come out and say, this is the one way. If there's anybody that's telling you there's only one way to do something, fucking run from them, because it's not true. Anything in S&C is going to be a slight grey area, but there's a few key guidelines that you can take. You can pull into your own schedule and see how your schedule works around it. First things first, we're going to organise our week into high days and low days. High days being our highest intensity days, the likes of your speed work, your team trainings, your games, your heavy lower body work, anything that's going to leave you fried for a couple of days and you're going to need a few days to recover from. Your low days is the likes of maybe your upper body work, your off-feet conditioning, which is a bit easier in terms of intensity ways, your extensive tempo runs if you're maybe topping up distance, but as long as you're keeping that intensity around like a 70-75% or below. The importance of having those high and low days, obviously you want to push your high days high to actually get the adaptation from training, but you want to put yourself in that position to actually improve from your training. But from the low days, that's when you're actually recovering, that's when you're getting the adaptations, that's where the magic's happening, and then you're also getting yourself fresh so that you can push yourself for the next high day, either a day or two down the line, whatever it is. We want to be at our freshest going into those big sessions, and that ties in with that idea of that high-low model. We want to be able to do our fastest, most explosive work when we're at our freshest. So that's why we want to be well recovered whenever we're going into the likes of our speed work, our power work, our team training games, because we want to actually be able to be fresh, to hit the outputs that we want to hit the speeds, be able to get up and down the pitch and actually perform to our best of ability. Keeping your speed work, again, this ties in. Keeping your speed work in 30-40 minutes before team training. One, you're going to be fresh going into it, so you're going to actually hit the outputs and allow yourself to get faster week on week. But two, it's going to prime you for the team session. You're going to fly into that team session and you're going to have a real productive session from there. Ideally, we would have our lower body work directly after training if possible, or we'd have it the next day, providing that we have a day to recover before our next team session. Again, this isn't always going to be possible. If your team training is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example, you don't want to go speed and team training Monday, heavy lower body Tuesday, and then back out in the pitch again on Wednesday, you're going to be pretty fried by the end of that session. It might have to work that way, but ideally you would maybe push your lower body session to either the Friday evening or the Saturday, where then you have Sunday fully to recover, and then you're back in the training on Monday then. The final thing that I want to chat about here is we want to do enough work to improve, but not so much work that we want to leave ourselves fried and run into the ground and just feeling like shit all the time. This amount of work is going to vary from person to person. For example, a player who's been playing at senior level 5, 6, 7 years, they've accumulated a good level of work. They probably can handle a good bit more work, but they probably don't need to do as much work to just keep themselves topped up at a good level. Whereas players who are maybe just breaking through probably can't handle as much pitch volume and intensity, which will come over time, but they probably need to spend a wee bit more time in the gym building that size, building that strength to get up to the demands of playing at senior level. So again, there's always going to be different considerations. These are general overviews, but I found that you can take these, apply them to your scenario, and get a lot from them. Second thing that we want to chat about then, and then step 3 in this process, is our nutrition. And when it comes to nutrition, the ultimate goal is performance. But we can break that down into 3 areas. We can look at our fueling, we can look at our recovery, and we can look at our body composition. Our fueling and recovery both help each other. So as we're fueling for one session, once we start the refueling process, which is the recovery process after that session, it's actually kickstarting the fueling for the next session then. So when you're well fueled for a session, it's going to help you recover. When you refuel after a session, it's going to help you then fuel for your following session and help you recover at the same time. So your fueling is your recovery is your fueling. It all ties in nicely. Fueling properly for each session like stops the tank from running empty and stops us from feeling like shit as the week goes on. Some weeks we can feel class at the start of the week, and then the more training we do and not replenishing the stores, we can just get worse and worse and worse, and then come the weekend we just feel like shit. Body composition wise, we know we want to have good levels of muscle mass. We want to be strong and robust when we're taking contact, and we also want to have a good potential to be able to produce force and to allow us to be explosive, fast, get off the mark in games and in training scenarios. Along with that, having low body fat levels, because carrying an extra few kg isn't the most efficient thing when you're trying to get up and down the pitch at speed for 60 to 70 minutes. Personally, I'm a big fan of tracking calories to know exactly what you're getting in. One, to manage your body composition well, and that you can make sure you're building muscle, you can drop unnecessary body fat if you need to, but also just making sure you're getting enough food in to actually fuel properly. You're getting enough calories in, you're getting enough carbs in to support recovery, fuel for performance, and you're setting yourself in a better position to perform on a consistent basis rather than one week being up here, next week being down here. It's just a nice level of consistency across the board. To work out your calorie target then is use an online calculator to get a rough guide. Track that number for 1 to 2 weeks, making sure you're nailing it consistently. Monitor your progress in between, and then monitor your body weight on a daily basis, taking a weekly average at the end of the week. If you see your performance levels are good, and your body weight is reflecting what you're trying to get out of it, whether it's going up if you're trying to build muscle, or if it's coming down if you're trying to drop body fat, or it's staying nice and steady if you're just focusing on fueling performance, then stick with it, or else make any adjustments that you need. On top of that, make sure you're monitoring how you're feeling in sessions, energy levels, recovery after sessions, performance in sessions, and even like the mental aspect as well. A couple of rough targets here for nutrition on top of the calories is looking at 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, 3 to 5 grams of carbs per kilo of body weight, depending on the intensity of the session. This can go up to between 6 to 8 grams of carbs when we're looking at the likes of our carb loading days. And if you check the link in the description, there's a free guide on that, explaining it in more detail. And then from a fat standpoint, looking at about 0.5 to 1 gram of fats per kilo of body weight. You can also prioritize your calories, having more around your big and training days and less around your easier days. But the main thing here with anything is going to be consistency. There's no point in doing it for a week, feeling class, and then not doing it for a week and then being on off. We want to be consistent with this throughout the year to give us the best chance of performing consistently week in, week out. And then step number 4 in this process is looking at our lifestyle. And this is probably one of the biggest areas that players maybe don't think about. They're very quick to think about their training, but when you zoom out, like, your training is only a small part of your day and of your week. And the biggest thing that I've learned from playing county football over the last 6 years now, maybe 6, 7 years, that's fucking mental by the way, is that it's a lifestyle. Like, you can't be half in, half out. You almost have to be all in, and you have to set up your life if you want to perform to the best of your ability on the pitch. Like, everything you do, you should have the thought coming back in your head somewhere, is this helping me? Should I be doing this or that? What sessions have I got coming up? What time am I getting to sleep at? What do you have to do tomorrow? Like, all these certain things. And some people are probably listening to this and thinking that's a bit obsessive. But the reality is, if you value something and you want to get the absolute most out of it, there has to be a certain level of obsession to get to the level that you want to get to. And when it comes to your lifestyle, like, essentially you're managing everything outside of your training to help you recover, feel fresh, and be ready to perform for sessions or games to put your best foot forward. The obvious things when it comes to your lifestyle, it's your social life. You know, are you spending your weekends out in the piss every week? Are you getting good quality sleep? Are you having lots of takeaways? Being up to all hours during the night? Like, it's just All those wee things are probably the first things that come into mind, but we can even look at things in a smaller, more subtle habits that go a long way. The likes of planning out your weeks and your days so that you feel in control. You feel like you know exactly what you have going on, so you have more chance of hitting your sessions, you have less chance of missing things, and you're not running about from morning to night just constantly in a state of stress and wondering what's next and just being up the walls day to day. For me personally, there's nothing worse than knowing that there's a lot going on in your week and not feeling in control of it. Like at the end of the day, stress is stress. Your body doesn't recognize stress from training, financial, work life, like whatever it is. Your body just sees it all as stress. So whatever we can do to keep that down is going to help us to recover better, perform better in our sessions, and ultimately just feel better during the week. So yeah, when you have a plan for each day, you feel in control, you make sure that you're getting everything done, and you're ticking off all the boxes that are going to help you perform better on the pitch and get the most out of your training. On top of that, you know what time you need to be getting up in the morning, then you can work backwards to see what time you need to be in bed at to get good quality sleep, which is where the real recovery happens. And then we can also filter in the other wee things. So the likes of saunas, dips, going for lunch, going for coffee, meeting friends, having that downtime, like all those wee things that give you energy and make you feel good, we can add to that feel good factor then. So once we have everything under control, we can start to filter in those other wee additional bits that we enjoy. The likes of saunas, cold dips, going for coffee with friends, going for meals out, meeting your mates, just having that bit of downtime and chilling out, whatever it is that you want to do. All those wee things that give you energy, add to that feel good factor, and all that fun stuff that makes you feel like you have a life outside of sport. And yes, we love sport so much, we place so much value on it, but at the end of the day, it's not the be all end all. So there we have it, the high performance habits that you need to implement in 2025 to make this season your best to date. Your training, your nutrition, and your lifestyle. So get clear on the vision of where you want to get to, make those 3 key areas align with your vision, and nail those day in, day out, and you'll be feeling unbelievable, I guarantee it. If you want to get involved in a program that looks after that all for you, check out the link description below where you can book a call for coaching, or make sure you hit subscribe. There's plenty more content coming on all this sort of stuff. Cheers for watching.